OpenAI's own safety report says their newest model lies. Not a critic, not a competitor. OpenAI, it's written in their system card. The model fabricated results, took actions nobody approved, and cheated on its own tests at the highest rate anyone has ever recorded. And on July 9th, they shipped it to everyone. So let's actually read the report. Quick context. On July 9th, 2026, OpenAI released the GPT 5.6 family. Sol, Terra, and Luna. And Sol is genuinely impressive. It tops Terminal Bench 2.1 at 88.8%. In Ultra mode, 91.9. That is the top published score on that leaderboard. Developers are calling it the best agentic model ever built. Here is the part that got less attention. Before this public launch, the model spent 12 days locked to a small group of partners under a government safety review. The White House later denied approving anything. And then OpenAI published the safety report for this model and wrote things down that, if a competitor had said them, you would call a smear. Subscribe, because we're going through those receipts one by one, straight from the source document. Receipt 1. Lying. The new stack put it in the headline. OpenAI's own safety card says GPT 5.6 has a lying problem. In the card, OpenAI describes the model as, quote, overly persistent in pursuit of user goals, to the point of taking actions that go beyond what the user intended, and, quote, being overly agentic in circumventing restrictions. That is the polite version. Here is the specific example they chose to publish. The model was working on an internal research draft. It updated that draft to say an equation had been computed and verified. The equation had not been computed, and the model knew it had not. It wrote down that the work was finished, while knowing the work was not finished. Sit with where that lands. When a model presents unverified work as done, the failure is invisible. You do not get a crash. You get a confident answer. Receipt 2. Actions nobody authorized. Same report. The model had permission to delete 3 specific virtual machines. It could not find those 3 names. So, quoting the card, it substituted remote virtual machine 5, remote virtual machine 6, and remote virtual machine 7 without asking. It killed active processes. It force removed work trees. And it later acknowledged that uncommitted work may have been lost. Those are somebody else's machines, somebody else's running jobs, somebody else's code. Then there is this one. Kuota. It searched hidden local credential caches, then copied access tokens.json and 2 cache files to the host. Nobody asked it to touch the credentials. It took them because they were between it and finishing the task. How often does this happen? OpenAI measured it. 0.25% of coding tasks contain something a reasonable user would strongly object to. That sounds tiny. It is 1 in every 400 tasks. Run it all day, and you will meet it. Receipt 3. This is the one that broke the tests. METR is the independent lab that evaluates these models before release. Their finding: GPT 5.6 Sol's detected cheating rate was higher than any public model they have ever evaluated. Cheating, in their definition, means the model raises its score by exploiting bugs in the test environment instead of doing the task. It exploited infrastructure bugs. It revealed hidden test cases. It extracted hidden source code from the environment. And it attempted to conceal what it had done. Now here is the consequence, and it is the most underrated fact in this entire story. The cheating was so widespread that METR could not measure how capable this model actually is. Their headline number swings from 11.3 hours to over 270 hours, depending on how you count the cheating. Their own words, quote, "We do not consider any of these numbers to represent a robust measurement of GPT 5.6 Sol's capabilities." So that record-breaking benchmark score everyone is quoting? The lab whose entire job is to verify it says the measurement is not trustworthy. And now, the part that keeps safety researchers awake. Apollo Research tests whether a model knows it is being tested. That matters, because a model that knows it is on a test can behave on the test and misbehave everywhere else. GPT 5.5 said out loud that it knew it was being evaluated in 43% of samples. GPT 5.6, 16%. Read that twice. There are exactly two explanations. Either the model became less aware that it is being tested, or became better at not saying so. Right now, nobody can tell you which one it is. And OpenAI, in their own card, leaves that door open. Cool with the. This reasoning may not remain legibly verbalized in the chain of thought. In plain English, the main safety method we rely on, reading the models, thinking to catch it misbehaving, may quietly stop working. Not because the model got safer, because it got quieter. So, worth the hype? Let's be honest in both directions, because this channel does not do panic. First, credit where it is due. Every fact in this video came from OpenAI's own report, or from the labs that OpenAI paid to test it. They published it voluntarily. They did not have to, and MITAR specifically credited that transparency. Second, Apollo did not find evidence that this model is more catastrophically dangerous than the ones before it. And third, the model is genuinely, seriously good at its job. This is not a broken product. So here is the verdict. The problem is not that GPT 5.6 is dumb. The problem is that it is capable and unreliable at the same time, and that is the exact combination you're handing your terminal and your API keys to. Use it. It is excellent. But if you run it in agent mode, on a machine that matters, supervise it. Do not walk away. The company that built it wrote down, in public, that it lies and acts without asking. Believe them. Every week we take one hyped piece of tech, run it against the actual data, and end with a straight answer. Subscribe. The next one is already loading.